Alright, welcome to the part 2 of Champions Trophy preview for the second group. I think best is to start with the team that will have impact player, the only team to have an impact player in Champions Trophy 2025. This just in.
England.
Yes, you got the joke.
Who doesn't get the reference? It's George Butler interview, final T20.
So yeah, I think it's a fairly balanced squad between young and experienced professional coming in, especially for the ODI side. Any interesting players or any X-factor players that you might think England would be carrying on their backs?
Yeah, look, when you mention X-factor, it's very hard to look beyond Joe Root. They would have loved to have Ben Stokes there, but he's out with an injury, so that's unfortunate. But yeah, I think Joe Root will be one of the higher run scorers during the group stages. I don't think England will make it beyond the group stages. So I think Joe Root will play a good role in trying to get them to the semis. But there's only so much one man can do.
So I think that group is quite interesting. It's a very competitive group: South Africa, Australia, England, and Afghanistan. So it will be a cutthroat competition in this group. What are your thoughts?
I mean, you're right. I mean, Joe Root's a big difference, and the kind of form he's been over the last year. But I'm worried about their opening because they've tried a few players to play around with Duckett, and if the opener succeeds, the middle order collapses, and if the middle order collapses, like if the middle order is doing fine and the opening collapses, like nothing's been working for them in terms of combination in ODI cricket. And I feel like the best move might just be to play both Salt and Buttler, to open with Salt and then have Buttler in the middle order to stabilize things. But I don't know if that's going to work out. And the other thing is Jofra Archer. People were all very excited about his return, and he was a scary bowler back in the day. But this kind of Indian series has shown that it's just not scary anymore.
Yeah, he hasn't done much after that super over in the 2019 World Cup. I don't remember him.
And that was a draw, by the way. Sorry to cut you, but
he doesn't scare people anymore, and I think that's an issue.
When you have multiple injuries and you're coming back and you're making your third or fourth comeback, then I think after each comeback your speed tends to reduce. That's something that hasn't happened to Bumrah yet, but
I also wonder how big of an impact Adil Rashid's gonna have, because I think he's a top quality spinner. And with the pitches in Pakistan, I think he could become that X factor for England's team in the middle overs, right? Like if he's able to grab a couple of wickets, 3 wickets, that would change a lot.
And one interesting thing about this group will be that they'll be playing all their matches in Pakistan. And unless they face India in the semis or the finals,
which they're not making.
England definitely has some experience playing in Pakistan. I know that the Test series was the big disappointment for them after the first massive win. But they still have a better idea than other teams, I would say, recency bias at least. I think for me an X factor for them is their middle order is quite strong. If again inexperienced, but if the pitches are highways, they might just be the team that is posting like 400 plus.
Who are the players in the middle order though?
Middle order would have Harry Brook, Ben Duckett, Jamie Smith can bat, Liam Livingston, Joe Root obviously. We have who else?
Jacob Bethel might play, right? So Jacob Bethel would be there, and so that's Sam Curran might play. So
Sam Curran is not in the squad though.
Wow. He is in the squad, I think. Let's make sure.
No, he's not. You're right.
Really?
I see. I just assume Sam Curran's in the
squad. So their India tour ODI squad and the Champions Trophy squad is the same, by the way.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if players can be. I think players can be added.
February 12th.
So Sam Curran would be a good come in. If Ben Stokes is not playing. So I think that's what their strength is. Weakness we've already discussed. I think that opening is always in question. And they're going through a heavy transition period. Their T20 side seems to be struggling a lot against India, and that seems to be carrying over to the ODI side as well. But I feel like every second team is going through that transition for some weird reason. And
So I mean, where do you think they'll end up?
I think they will not be able to make the semis. it would most likely be South Africa and Australia.
Afghanistan has a higher chance of making a semis.
Wow, okay.
That's a bold statement, honestly.
It almost sounds like a spoiler, but yeah, I also think England's not making the semis.
Okay, so we agree on one team at least, all three of us. So I think that's a good moving point for us. I think that's a good segue for us to move to Australia. And again,
team captainless. maybe this isn't confirmed.
So yeah,
or maybe the sandpaper captain.
Sandpaper captain.
It could be Travis Head as well. So yeah, just to give you some context, it came out very recently that Pat Cummins, Hazelwood, and Mitch Marsh, was already sort of set to miss out, will be the three players who will most likely be not playing in the Champions Trophy.
Yeah.
So they have lost three big players, and if I were to record this before I knew this, I would have said that it would be an India-Australia final.
Yeah.
Wow.
Given this news, I think I'll start with my predictions. They'll go to the semis, but they will not make it to the finals. What about you?
I'll give you a fun fact about this team.
Cool.
Before I give you my opinion, they haven't won a single Champions Trophy game since 2009.
Doesn't matter, bro. They're a winning side.
I know, but they didn't win a single game in 2013. All of their games got washed out in 2017. So they're coming to the 2025 Champions Trophy after a 16-year.
It doesn't matter. It's
drought.
pretty much the similar team, similar squads as to the 2023 World Cup. Everyone wrote them off, and they bounced back with that Afghanistan game with Glenn Maxwell being like on one leg and just smashing them around, and then they ended up winning the thing and disappointing India.
That's the thing. Had you asked me this question, sorry to cut you out, had you asked me this question 7 days ago, I would have been Australia as the favourites. But after the news about the injuries looming in that camp, I think they will make it to the semis. If they make it to the final, given that there's so many injuries, they might just lose to Pakistan.
Ooh. But see, the thing is that they have, I think, a couple of good replacements for both Stark and Hazelwood. Obviously not as effective, but Riley Meredith has had a great
Not
big
Stark, Pat Cummins.
For Cummins and Hazelwood, right? Because Riley Meredith has had a very good season with the Big Bash, I think 16 wickets in 10 games, and then Jason Behrendorff has also had 17 wickets in 10 games, and I think those are the two most likely replacements. So I think those are good quality bowlers. They have a decent. Adam Zappa, I think, is one of the best spinners, and they have decent support, from other kind of the part-timers as well. Maxwell is a type ODI bowler in the power plays as well. So I don't think that bowling, so I don't think, that awards you don't know, right? But so I don't think that bowling's that bad. Neither is the batting, and they're a strong team. So I don't think. What they're going to miss the most, I think, is the captaincy of
leadership.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to ask you guys about. Who are we thinking? Who's going to be the next captain?
It's most likely going to be Steve Smith because he captained the Sri Lanka Test series anyway. If, again, it could just be a little controversial, but Travis Head seems to be a leadership figure in the team somehow. And it'll be interesting to see him captaining this side if Steve Smith is not given a chance. But a no-brainer would say Steve Smith would most likely.
Look, had this been the 2027 ODI World Cup, they probably would have gone with Travis Head, I believe, because they would want to groom him to be the next captain. But right now, I think it's a little.
How old is Travis Head?
Travis Head is in his early 30s.
Yeah, exactly. So
you don't groom a player to be.
Yeah, I mean that's true.
No, but that's the thing. That's the thing, right? They're grooming Steve Smith to be the next captain right now, and he's about 35. So.
Are they thinking
but he's a
transition captain, or I think they're just because
it's a transition captain until they find someone.
He's a temporary captain. That's
Travis Head is 31 though, by the way. So he's still quite young. But young.
The Indians have a tendency to play our players for too long. Most countries don't do that unless they're exceptional players. We just tend to think of anyone with a long career.
What makes you think Travis Head won't be exceptional?
I don't think I think he's a great player. I just don't think he has a
longevity.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think
Fair enough. So the thing that I wanted to ask was: is leadership going to be an issue if Steve Smith happens to be the captain?
No, he's a brilliant captain.
He's a good captain.
I remember that, and he's such a smart player. I remember this one game when he was playing for Rajasthan Royals. I don't know if anyone of you remember it, and they required. It was the last ball, and they required to either draw or win the game to qualify. And it was like 3 runs required, and the whole field was pushed back because everyone thought he's going to try hitting for a 4, and he just kind of flicked and ran a double and got the team into the super over, and that way the net run didn't change. It's like, so he's a very smart guy, and he knows his cricket very well, and he respects it. So I think he's a great captaincy choice irrespective.
I think he missed out on the 2019 World Cup and the 2023 World Cup to play as a captain. So he's probably finally getting the chance to lead the side. Deservedly so. It's been a while since that sandpaper gate happened, so it's all forgotten. At least outside of the Australian public.
Yeah, it's all forgotten if you're a good player.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the major issue would be their over-reliance on Glenn Maxwell, right? I think that's the bigger issue than the captaincy issue, is that if Maxwell's not in form, the others around him are not very consistent, so...
Yeah, I think that was my point on it as well, that if I were to highlight one weakness, and in ODIs, your middle order batting matters a lot. Because your opening fails, your lower order can get you not more than 50-60 runs averagely. So it's your middle order who carries the game between that boring lull of 20 to 40 overs where nothing happens. And that's where you end up like taking those single doubles, building those partnerships. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Glenn Maxwell is pretty much where their reliance was. Travis Head would also might be pushed down to the middle order, or do you think he'll open?
No, I think Travis Head is going to open.
Travis Head is going to open.
I think he has to open given his ODI cricket form. And
but who will open with him? Labuschagne?
No.
Who's been opening in the recent ODI series?
Steve Smith? Because
I think Steve Smith has the potential to be opener. I think he should be an opener.
Yeah.
But they don't open with him, which is an...
and they tried him in the test matches, didn't work out too well.
I mean, test matches is a different format though. I think for white ball cricket, Steve Smith might be the best opening partner you could have. So
Steve Smith and Travis Head as opening. That leaves their middle order very exposed.
Yeah. I think you need some experience there.
Yes,
Steve Smith.
Because your middle order will then have Glenn Maxwell.
They also carry Matthew Short, right? So Matt Short
doesn't have a lot of experience.
That's fine. I mean, he's a good. See, that's the difference between how Australia picks the squad versus how any other country picks it up. They don't pick people unless they've had successes and failures in the domestic circuit.
That's true.
There's hardly any player who comes into the Australian cricket team who's not had quite a few successes, but as well as many failures. So they pick up players who know how to bounce back from failures already. So it doesn't matter that they don't have a lot of international experience. These are seasoned cricketers on their own, and I think Matthew Short would be the go-to option for them.
Yeah.
Especially with Mitch Marsh out now.
Yeah, and I think the game changer for them will be what replacements they're bringing in for the three players who are very highly likely to miss out now. Mitch Marsh could have played that opening role as well. He's done that a few times, not been that successful, but he's a guy who can score big, and sometimes you need someone like a Mitch Marsh who just is not scared of anyone and will just bash you around the ground. But I'm not sure what kind of replacement is coming. Osman Khawaja is pretty much out of the white ball picture now. But for me, honestly, given the success he's had in Pakistan, in like the subcontinent area, for me, he actually could have made sense.
I mean, it might be Fraser McCulloch played the last ODIs for them against Pakistan, so they might just bring him back, right? That's the most likely scenario if you think about it. So probably going to be Fraser McCulloch.
And look, I'm speaking off of the red ball stats, but they have two players who are in the form of their lives, Travis Head and Steve Smith. And as long as these guys are in the team, I'm not concerned about their performance in the group stage or in the knockouts. So
So I mean, you pretty much said it, but I also do think Australia will come out of the group, and I think they will be a final. They will be.
So you're saying they'll be a finalist?
Yeah.
And did you say India will be a finalist as well, or no? Okay, so you're yet to wait on your final.
I think the other finalists are going to be between Pakistan and New Zealand.
Okay, guys, let's move on to South Africa, and I think I'll say that I haven't picked my second finalist yet. I think it's going to be India South Africa, man. If they don't face each other in the semis, it's very highly likely for me that it's going to be South Africa and India facing in the final yet again, 2 years in a row. And let's just discuss the squad. Temba Bavuma leading the side. Very interesting squad. I feel like South Africa, I think out of all the countries, for some reason I feel like South Africa has a lot of ODI experience under the belt. They have played a lot of ODI around. Unfortunately, they did lose to Pakistan in the home series. I think that was the first time anyone has whitewashed them in an ODI series, which was interesting to see. But the matches were quite close, and there were a lot of promise shown, especially by the likes of Glassine, You have your, what is that guy, Marco Jansen, and who I think will be the X Factor player for South Africa. He's going to be the difference between fast bowling all-rounder that is always needed in ODIs who can actually score big, like a Hardik Pandya, for example, for India. So it's a very balanced squad. They have a lot of experience. There are a few young players as well. Tabriz Shamsi, I think, is one interesting X factor here as well. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, with South Africa, the thing is, amongst casual viewers, they seem to be under the radar almost always, right? But as cricket fans, we're very well aware how balanced the side is and how they've been performing in the previous tournaments. They have this tendency to lose to Netherlands here and there, but
it's like the new rivalry now.
So they were the semi-finalists of the 2023 World Cup, lost by the barest of margins there, and then lost the T20 World Cup final against India. They've also made it to the WTC final. So I wouldn't be surprised if they make it to the semi-finals here in the Champions Trophy. I wouldn't have given them much of a chance to go to the final, given that Australia is a stronger side on paper. But given that there's news about Pat Cummins and Josh Hazelwood and Mitchell Marsh missing out, I think South Africa might be able to pull it off and make it to the finals. Although I would give Australia the upper hand. It would be 55 and 45 in my opinion. But for me, they're making it to the semis for sure. Finals, it depends on the day. They have a good day.
I think they're a semi-final team for me as well. I think the middle order is crazy. Like Klaasen's in form.
Oh man.
Yeah. I think Tristan Stubbs is the next future star of cricket.
Oh yeah, you have said that before. Yes.
I genuinely do believe that he has the potential to be the best player South Africa has ever produced, which is saying a lot because Jack Callis is my favorite player of all time. So that's there, and then Marco Jansen, form of his life. I think Bauma's an underrated captain. I think he's actually very decent. Obviously the loss against Pakistan doesn't bode well, but I think he's cemented himself there. I think the team respects him the way they play, and I'm also interested to see if they can fit Ryan Rickenton into the playing 11. I don't think he played all 3 games against Pakistan, and that concerns me because I think that player also has a lot of talent in him for the ODI game.
I mean, look, let's talk about one miss that they're going to have here. Quinton de Kock, he's retired from ODIs obviously, but I read this thing somewhere that Quinton de Kock had the potential to be the greatest cricketer of all time if he didn't hate cricket at all.
He hates cricket?
No, I mean, look, if you come to think about his attitude towards other formats, Test cricket, in the middle of the series, he was like, you know what, I'm done. Right? ODI series, he scored ODI World Cup, he scored 400s in that World Cup. And then at the end of the World Cup, he's like, yo, I'm done. So,
unpredictable, So, I think, I don't think Quinton de Kock will be a big miss, but Themba Bavuma, I get it that he's a good captain. Is he a good ODI player though? Is he a good player overall though?
I think Test cricket he's shown that he has a temperament to play it. Right? ODI cricket it's still a question, but I don't think there's a lot of replacements going around right now. Right? I don't follow the domestic circuit of South Africa, but I haven't heard any of the South African ex-cricketers also speak about someone else they would have considered. In fact, I think the big miss is obviously Kodze because he's still injured.
Oh yes.
The biggest miss for South Africa is going to be Kodze. He's injured. Great bowler, I think, and he has the bite in him, right? I think South Africa also just miss a number 6 player. They obviously have Miller who they can play, but I feel like the issue is that the team balance isn't right, so they have to play Jansen at 7. And even though I like Jansen, the bowler, I don't think he's the number 7 batter ODI has. It's a short batting order. I think with the way the game has moved, and if South Africa lose early wickets, they would have liked to have another batter in there, someone who could bat a little bit more. But it is a team they have. I think it's still strong, so I'm not too concerned.
I mean, you raised a very important point there. They don't have a batter batting in the lower order. in the T20 World Cup, we saw Keshav Maharaj walked out to bat, and the moment he walked out to bat, we were like, oh, we have a sniff here in getting back into the game. Yeah. So the lower order is a concern. But let's also talk about the strengths a little bit. David Miller and Aiden Markram. I think Aiden Markram is an absolute beast in almost all formats. And I think he's going to have a big role to play. David Miller, since the time the older legends moved out of the side, AB de Villiers and Faf du Plessis, David Miller has carried on that responsibility to bail the team out of those troublesome situations. One example being the ODI World Cup semi-final where they had a collapse and Miller came and did a rescue job. And every time I'm speaking to my cricket friends, we're all talking about how Miller is going to do a rescue job, So I'm a huge fan of David Miller, and I think he's going to be that X factor in this team.
I think the team does very well if Randy Crichton performs at number 3. Sorry, not Randy Crichton, Rassi Vandosen. Because Rassi is the one they'll be playing at number 3. If he doesn't play, then Randy Crichton will play. And I think if either of those two can convert those 30s into like 70s or 80s, the team does very well.
About Tony De Zorzi?
I think solid player, nothing special, nothing great, but every team has to have a couple of players who are just players. On their day can be great, but not mind-blowing.
I was just looking at player stats. South Africa might just have a lot of players who average more than 40 in ODI cricket with considerable experience, by the way. Not Tony De Zorzi, David Miller, for example, Rassi Vandosen. Temba Bavuma, to my surprise, also averages over 40. I don't think a lot of teams can say that about
their
their
sport. They also play a lot of cricket against nations other than big teams. I think didn't they have like a series against Ireland recently, ODI series against Ireland.
Sure.
I think there's a little bit of stat padding going on there.
Okay. The thing is, they've also been playing on pitches that are going to be very different from what they're going to see in Pakistan.
That's true. They don't have a lot of subcontinent expertise per se.
And the pitches, none of us know a lot about these pitches, right? But I think they're going to be very different from what we saw in the 2023 ODI World Cup. A lot of them being high scoring except for a few venues like Lucknow and Chennai. I think a lot of these pitches in Pakistan might just assist spinners, and since this group is not playing in the UAE, they probably will have a hard time against a team that has, quality spinners, and the only team that comes to my mind is Afghanistan. So
that's a good transition to go to the next team, to be fair, unless you wanted to say something else about South Africa.
Let's just discuss one last thing about South Africa, their bowling attack. They have Tabraiz Shamsi, they have Keshav Maharaj in spinners. Aiden Markram is a handy bowler. By handy, I mean very handy bowler. They obviously have Rabada, who's been great in ODIs and overall for South Africa. South Africa's bowling was a major difference in the T20 World Cup, by the way. Teams pretty much failed in batting all round. So, and again, it's my fair belief and strong belief, especially the longer the format, the best bowling attack wins you the tournament. The best bowling wins you tournaments anywhere in the world. So I think South Africa poses a very, very strong bowling attack with a lot of experience under the belt, and with the form that they're going in, their spinners, Tabraiz Shamsi, Keshav Maharaj will play very handy. They can also swing the bat as well when necessary. Kagiso Rabada has a proven track record. He can be a little bit troubling on these pitches, and that's why I rank them so highly, and I have a high expectations that it's going to be a South Africa-India final, is because of their bowling attack. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's a solid bowling attack. It is balanced, I think, and I think they'll do their job. Is it a bowling attack which scares me? No, I don't think Rabada has that bite anymore in ODI cricket. Test cricket's a different game. I don't think Rabada has that bite, and I think it's a decent bowling attack. They'll do their job every day, but do I think the bowling will win them a match alone? No, but they might win them the tournament. That's where I stand on their bowling attack.
It's the kind of bowling attack that looks good on paper, but if there's a situation where there's a lot of pressure, they'll be the first ones to come.
I mean, that's been their history, especially in knockout stages.
Exactly. So they might just be the team that would concede 17 4 overs in a semi-final or something. So I look at the bowling attack. They all look good individually, but coming together, I think not that much hope.
I think their strategy would come in very handy. Pavuma has been a good captain, but ODI, I feel like every captain that is going into ODIs right now has pretty much a point to prove. As of this point, as no team has really been that successful. Good time for us to discuss Afghanistan. Quite interesting, the squad, I would say. Hazmatullah Shahidi is leading the side. And if you were to rank Afghanistan, do you think they'll make the semis?
Yeah, look, I mean, this is one team that's only leveled up in the last few years.
Oh, yes.
And if they end up beating one big side, it wouldn't be surprising. I would expect them rather. I would rather expect them to beat one big side. It could either be Australia or South Africa. I really hope that it's South Africa so that they avenge that semi-final defeat. So maybe they'll get favorable pitches here, and they'll probably be able to beat one of the bigger sides. But yeah, like if you look back at the journey in the 2023 World Cup as well, they ended up beating Pakistan, and then they ended up beating England as well.
Oh man.
Yeah, so it won't be a surprise if they end up making it to the semis. So yeah,
I think it depends on the three batters, right? Ahmed Shah, Omar Azai, and Gurbaz. I think if these three perform, because Afghanistan's issues always been the batting. The bowling does a decent job, right? Like they do not concede 400 runs. They concede reasonable runs, but their batting always lacks. And I don't know. So it depends a lot on how Gurbaz plays, and I think Gurbaz is suited to this format. Ahmed Shah, I think, is actually a really good batter. I think he had played a beautiful innings against South Africa where they scored 300 runs, and obviously Azmatullah Amar is one of the most exciting players in the world right now. So I mean, for the first time I have hopes of Afghanistan's batting, and I think they might defeat England.
I mean, that's the thing, right? They have demons to fight from the 2023 ODI World Cup where they lost to Australia. So they redeemed that in the 2024 T20 World Cup, but they might just look to upset them again. South Africa, they've recently beaten them, as you mentioned, in an ODI series, and England, they've beaten them in the Champions Trophy. So they aren't facing any sides that they haven't been beaten before. I would, in the context of the entire tournament, I would rate them above Bangladesh.
Oh yes,
definitely. They're at number 6 or number 5 for me. If they make it to the semis, well and good. But I would expect them to beat one team, but they're not winning the tournament for me.
Yeah, of course. I think it's a safe bet to say they might not win the ODI tournament. By the way, they haven't beaten Australia.
They came close.
Yes, in ODIs, I mean. So they've beaten South Africa, they've beaten England once, South Africa twice actually, and what was the other team? Australia. So they haven't beaten them. So if you were to bet your money on one team, Afghanistan could potentially beat out of these three beasts.
England.
I would say England as well. So I think we all agree on that. England, out of all these sides, I think has inherent weaknesses, and teams like South Africa and Afghanistan can take advantage of that to try and climb up the ladder. So I would say they could be that whole net run rate chasing for that second spot factor. I think their strengths, if you were to talk about their strengths, that's spin bowling, and that is going to come way too much handy in this tournament. It's going to be Pakistan, it might be UAE for them if they go to the semis, and they might just upset everyone.
I mean, listen, if they're able to get, the pitch curators make a mistake and give them a dust bowl for one of the games, it's over right there, right? Because it's a crazy bowling attack. I mean, I was just looking at it. They have this left-arm spinner who's traveling in the reserves, Nangyal Kharoti, right? That's how you pronounce it. So he's a great bowler, but he's in the reserves. I think he plays for 7 out of the other 8 teams in the tournament.
Is he a leg spinner?
No, he's a left-arm orthodox bowler, and I think even he plays in any other team, but Afghanistan he can't. That's how good the bowling attack is for Afghanistan. So
and we haven't even mentioned Rashid Khan yet.
Average 26, 100 wickets already in T20Is.
26?
Yeah. I mean, he started playing. He debuted in international cricket when he was 16, right? Which was believable, to be fair. But he must have. He must have been 21, I guess. So.
That's. But yeah, whatever the age is, just a number, I guess. But Rashid Khan, I think every team would want to have him.
Oh yeah, he's a maverick.
Yeah, and I think one more interesting player, especially in ODI size, is old. He will be Mohammad Nabi, the former captain, the El Presidente.
Yeah.
And
he's won matches against about 40 ODI playing teams. Imagine.
Yeah, an absolute legend of a guy. I think he knows how to pace the innings. He knows how to bowl in crucial moments. And obviously we have Noor Ahmed. That is going to be a very big prospect for them as well. Afghanistan in ODIs has not had a lot of success in against these big teams, but that's where they've always shined.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? They haven't had success when they're trying to
No,
get them?
as in like whenever they've been given the chance against big teams, against for example T20 World Cup, major upset, and then they played the ODI World Cup as well. I think they performed very well, and it was just an upset for them. So now against big teams, again Champions Trophy is just another format. I would say there's nothing different about it. What would matter would be the pitch and the combination that they play. They have to play fearless cricket, which I'm very sure that they'll bring on the ground. But I would like to see them in the semis. I wouldn't place my money on it. But if they defeat one team, that's good to great.
I think honestly it would depend on the tournament pitches. If the tournament is a 400-run tournament,
then probably not.
If it's a 280 to 320 kind of a tournament, I think Afghanistan has a good chance.
I think they would perform at their best in a game that lies between 240 and 280.
Oh yeah, no, the best is 220, but I think they have a chance even if it's a 280 to 320 game. If it's anything of a 350 plus 400 run tournament, then there's more chance of Afghanistan qualifying.
Yeah.
I think team analysis has been fun, but if you were to talk about a few things, general things about the Champions Trophy in terms of location, we were just talking about pitches.
In terms of memories.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of memory for Champions Trophy, to be fair.
I just remember the Indian cricket team when they won 2013 at UAE and the white coats during the celebration.
That really stands out.
Did Pakistan win after them?
Yeah.
And that's what my last memory was. I think the last Champions Trophy was...
See, I don't remember bad things. I drink over them. So.
No, I remember Sarfaraz being so happy about Champions Trophy and it was a good win for them. But since they're hosting the tournament, there's not a lot of hopes from them, given what the squad has been.
For most people, they're the favorites.
Oh yeah, I think for me,
I think you're lying to yourself and you're telling yourself that people don't have hopes. You're hoping people don't have hopes about them because you don't want them to do well.
Look, I think they're gonna be the runner-up or runners-up, but I mean they're not winning. I don't think they're winning. It would be a great story to tell for them if they end up winning.
Who do you think is going to win?
I was saying Australia.
Australia.
Yeah, but again. Opinions may have changed a little bit for a lot of fans after the news about the injuries came out.
Just pick one side.
Australia, for sure.
Because Australia.
There's Steve Smith and
So what has changed then? Apparently,
nothing changed for him.
For a lot of other fans.
Yes.
Yeah,
they just took the decision the same way he takes every other decision in life, overthought it.
No, yeah. So look, for a lot of other fans, their opinions may have changed. But since Steve Smith is leading that side, I think they're NCA fans.
I actually think Pakistan is the favorite, and I think Pakistan. So I mean, listen, if I had to put my money on one, I would put it in Pakistan. If I had to put my money on it, like if I could choose the winner of the tournament, and let's kind of ignore India because that's the obvious choice. I would love for either Afghanistan or New Zealand to win it. I think New Zealand would be a beautiful story as well. You know?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think does Kane Williamson have an ICC trophy?
He has a WTC trophy.
Oh right, yeah. I mean. Afghanistan, I would love for them to win, but again, given that Australia and Pakistan are very strong sides, I don't think they're making it to the final. But if they do end up winning, I would be very happy. Probably happier than I would be if India won, because for me, for India, there should be an irrelevant tournament. They should be aiming for that ODI World Cup. So if they end up losing this, no harm done.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's just because you're a Rohit Sharma fan and there's not a lot of expectations.
No, I mean there's more expectation from Rohit Sharma than Virat Kohli, to be fair.
Then what expectation do we have from Virat Kohli? He's always performed in ICC tournaments.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? He's always done well leading up to the tournament in other ICC tournaments.
Yes.
But given this upcoming Champions Trophy. I don't think he's had a great run. He's performed terribly in the one Ranji match that he played.
Come on, you can't possibly judge him for that.
No,
so
but,
did Rohit Sharma.
But look at the stats from the BGT series as well. He hadn't even performed well in the ODI series that happened in Sri Lanka.
No one did.
Rohit Sharma did. That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
And he didn't have a great T20 World Cup as well. He had a great final. I'm one of the biggest Kohli fans, but it doesn't look very bright out there unless he turns it around in the ODI series. Then obviously, he'll have a good. He'll have a few runs under his belt leading up to the tournament. But if he fails to perform in this ODI series, then we're looking at the IPL and beyond.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't care. I'm more of a cricket fan than a player fan. I've always appreciated when players have gone out when the time is up, and I want to see young, exciting players play. I don't like to see people play after they're 32. No matter who the player is.
Really?
32
I worshipped Jack Callis. I was happy when he retired. I worshipped Brendan McCallum. I was happy when they retired.
32 is very young.
Unless you're a spinner, I don't want you to be playing after.
So you are saying Bumrah should retire after next year?
Yes.
He's 31.
Go play some golf.
Come on.
Go play some
Come
golf.
on. Like,
No, I mean, listen, there are exceptions. If you're performing at your peak, that's great. I think as soon as you hit it, what I'm saying is like I'm not sad when a player leaves after that age.
I think for me,
I
that's
want to see a
35.
young, exciting player. That's very Indian of us. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. Look at other teams and when their players retire. AB de Villiers 34, Hashim Amla 37.
Yeah, AB de Villiers made a huge mistake by retiring at 34. He should have played that 2019.
Living his life.
No, but he should have played that 2019 World Cup.
He's
He could have
living his
bailed
life.
South Africa out of
No
trouble.
regrets.
He has a lot of regrets. He wanted to play that 2019 ODI
He's
World
been
Cup.
asked 15 times, do you regret retiring? He's like, no.
Yeah, I mean, but he did make that call to Faf du Plessis asking him whether he needed him for the 2019 one. Those are not rumors, he addressed it.
But again, let's try to stick to the point. I think, so let's take a guess on who do you think will be the top run scorer for example. And the top wicket taker. Let's go run scorer first.
Kane Williamson.
Kane Williamson, wow. Okay, did not think.
I'm talking only about the group stages because then it depends on who qualifies.
Just a general idea. Group stage is what, 3 matches, bro?
Yeah.
Travis Head?
Yeah.
The highest wicket taker.
Omar was that.
Rashid Khan. So let's have one last question here. Who's going to be the player of the tournament?
I think it's going to be an all-rounder for sure. I'm just trying to narrow it down, talking what I'm thinking, but it would probably be Hardik Pandya.
And Maxwell.
Rachin Ravindra.
Damn. So you think New Zealand is going to the finals?
No, they don't need to make it to the final.
Come on.
They'll make it to
You
the
have to
semi-final.
play 5 matches to be the
Okay.
player of the tournament.
Okay, if you wanted to be a finalist, then it would be Travis Head. I don't think it's going to be an all-rounder.
Okay.
So it's going to be Travis Head for best batsman and highest run scorer and player of the tournament.
Alright, I think that would be the end of the podcast. It was fun talking to you guys, and we will backtrack and see what happens in Champions Trophy. Best of luck to your favorites, and see who got it right and who got it wrong. Thank you for watching.
Over and out.